Hi, I'm Georgie from POC Culture. My first question that I've been asking everybody is, two of us in here probably couldn't use the one power or be an Aes Sedai, but if we could, what Aja would you guys choose when the time came? For me, I would probably pick blue. They're my favorite. What about for you guys?
Good question. Good question. Yeah, I think blue or green, maybe. Although I think there was a game we did on season 1 where you could test which Jar Jar you were, and I think I came up yellow, probably because I'm kind of motherly or something. I can't remember but yeah, I think blue's a good call. I'd quite like to be the one finding all the secrets and traveling the world myself.
That would be green.
Would you? I can see he'd be green. Yeah.
Yeah, those have been the popular answers
my
today.
soulmate.
Yeah, she's your soulmate. Yeah.
Would you be her ward?
I would, yeah, love to be her warder.
He'd be a good warder. He would be a good warder.
Awesome. So second off, I wanted to ask, did you guys have a day on set where you were just like, wow, I love that I get to do this, where like everything just came together, or a favorite scene? What was a moment like that for you?
I mean, every day is exciting on set. So you always come to set, or even when you start a new day on a new set you created, it's like, wow, I'm so excited about it. We had I think, speaking for both of us, we had one really great day when we shot in Morocco, season 2, in one location nobody shot there before, and at some moment we decided in prep or during prep, yes, we want to shoot here. And when we finished the shooting day on that location, it was so exciting for all of us.
All of us.
So
and so stunning.
So stunning.
It's such a stunning place.
So we were excited about that. We made the right decision to present this location to the audience for season 2. So
it's that you won't have seen it yet, but I'll be excited for you to see it.
Okay, I'm assuming it's not in the first 4 episodes then.
Nope.
No.
Okay, my mind is spinning because what could be more beautiful than what we've seen?
Well, yeah,
exactly.
There's
the first 4 episodes we've seen. The first it was more Italy, but Morocco is to come now, and you will see amazing, stunning locations, and it's just mind blowing.
At One's Mill was here in the Czech Republic, but it's such a beautiful set build. I mean, just stunning. Whether we have the battle with the Shanshan.
Gosh, I'm so excited. Like, I'm so nosy. I want to make you tell me all the spoilers. Episode 3 was absolutely my favorite because of how character driven it was, as opposed to some
which
of the
episode?
more,
Episode 2.
3.
Oh, 3. Oh, yes,
3.
very definitely. Yes. It's very emotional, isn't it? I mean, it's just
When it ended, I was just too stunned to speak. I was crying, and I thought it was like the best episode in the series so far. And
there's more to come. More to come.
There's more to come. Yeah, I believe it. I also, so because of that, I wanted to ask you, what kind of stories do you tend to gravitate more, want to tell, with some of the more like macro state of the world aspects, or more like character driven? What speaks to you personally?
Me personally, character. So I'm very much into the character of all of them. Actually, I think the progression that we show in all of the characters this season is fantastic, and you fall in love with all of them for different reasons. And I even like the Forsaken. I mean, they're great characters, and the actors love playing them.
I mean, the nice part of season 2 is that they all go on a journey. So we had time to develop the character very deep, and you can see and you can connect to the characters even more.
And obviously it does reflect the state of the world as well, just in their microcosm. So in your second part of your question.
Of course. And in like early conversations for this season, in developing this season, what was the most interesting aspect of the world of the Wheel of Time to you guys that you like want to see more of, or that just fascinate you in general?
Well, for me, it was the women. So, I was the really strong female characters, first and foremost, sort of front-footed on those characters.
I think as well, it's the diversity and the mixture of cultures we are using to create the world. I think that's very interesting to do and exciting.
And reflecting our world. It's we've had a lot of people sort of say, you know, how wonderful it is that, you know, I'm on screen, you know. Yeah, that's been wonderful.
Yeah, my favorite thing about it is that for me, it's like men simping over the women, and I just love that. So thank you guys for creating this show, and thank you so much for your time. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see the rest and what you're talking about with Morocco.
Yeah, well, you give me little jangle.
Remember our interview when you watch
when you watch it. Yeah,
I will. Thank you so much. I watched the screeners last night, and I just love both of your work. Episode 3 specifically was my favorite episode in the series so far. And I needed to know, if you guys were in the Aes Sedai, which Aja would you pick when the time came? I would probably pick the blue because they're my favorite.
That's a really great question. What would you pick, Thomas?
I'd go blue, I think.
I love the blue, but I also love the green because I love Alana as well. And Priyanka Bose does such a great job with that character. So I'm in between. I switch. It depends on my mood.
Yeah, blue is a pretty popular answer today, and they're my favorite too. That's why I'm repping the blue right now. I also wanted to know, did you guys have a favorite scene to shoot in this season? Because I loved your work in the first 4 episodes.
Want to start with yours because that was pretty phenomenal.
I would say I have 2 favorite scenes. One, but the one that I would, if I had to pick one, it would be the battle at Atuan's Mill at the end of episode 2, where the Sonchan attack the people of Atuan's Mill and the Shienarans fight back. That was a really enjoyable piece to shoot. It had lots of moving elements, and you know, working with Jan Petrina and the Stunt team was just a joy, and the guys just put in so much work. It was just phenomenal how much work the actors put in to make that happen. So yeah, I would say that one.
Yeah, I really love the way Thomas captured that. I feel like he brought a visceral sense to the camera work, the action, the movement. Like we really felt in what Thomas does that the characters are really struggling. I think that's really important as a director to bring, you know, to the show. And I feel like, you know, all scenes I shoot are my babies, but I think the one that's really sticks out to me specifically in the first 3 episodes is when we filmed the High Lady Surath with her big pyramid coming out. I just really enjoyed that. There was something kind of regal about her. Karima McAdams, who plays the role, did such a great job. Even though she says hardly anything, it was so great to film her nail like flick and then her saying all will bow. Like she was really serving, and I think the key is kind of bringing in that modernness to the show and having that kind of iconic imagery. So, I mean, we love it all.
Yeah, they were terrifying. I was terrified when those villains, like the fight, and then in the 3rd episode with the pyramid. I need to know, what is the most fascinating part of the world of the Wheel of Time to you guys? I'll start with you, Sanaa.
Oh, okay. For me, it's really about the themes. I can just quickly talk about the cyclical nature of time and reincarnation that the Jordan novels have in it. I think that, you know, the characters struggle with free will versus destiny. Are we preordained to have a certain fate, or can we make choices? And I also love, you know, the diversity of the cultures that we're exposed to. I think that's really key. As well as the female kind of empowerment of the Aes Sedai, who have the one power and they have their warders. And, you know, I just think that's a really something that speaks to me personally.
I would go for, I'm a fantasy fan, and I enjoy the detail and the kind of the length of the arcs of the characters over these books is so epic. I find that really engaging. I love to be taken on these long stories. I find, the journeys with the characters really fascinating. I think they're really well drawn, and there's so much detail, and their journeys evolve and mature and become really more and more fascinating as the books go on and as the show progresses. So I love that aspect of it particularly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also noticed that like episode 3 was more kind of like character focused, focusing on a specific character for a big part of it. And the first 2 were more like macro, was like very big with everybody. And it got me wondering, what interests you guys as directors? What type of stories do you like to tell? Starting with Thomas.
Wow, that's a really good question. I think all of the characters in the first 2 episodes certainly are engaging with new relationships. They've been a team all the way through series 1. They've always been together as a group. And what happens in episode 1 and 2 and beyond that as well, especially episode 3 with Nynaeve, is that you're allowed to go deeper with the characters because they're satellite, they're atomized and separated. And so they have to form new relationships. And so those new relationships act as kind of mirrors to those characters in a different way. So you see different sides of, I won't name the characters, but you see different sides of them. You see them take on different challenges, and they're surviving on their own. So I think that's a really key aspect of this series and how it is different to series 1.
And what I love about the way we start the series and what Thomas has done with it is the focus on Moiraine's character and her vulnerability and what she's struggling with. We need to take the time to really to get her to know that side, which we haven't seen in season 1, and that takes a certain type of tempo and just storytelling that's really important. By the time we get to season 3, our characters are already shattered, so therefore they're on different journeys. So then it becomes very fixated on that one character, which I think is important. And it keeps going on and on and on like that in the season. So you'll have to see the rest of the show.
This series has a ton of great costumes and like a lot of the makeup and like the monsters. So I wanted to know for you guys, first off though, if you guys could use the one power and you were an Aes Sedai, which Aja would you be a part of? For me, I think I would be blue. What about yourself? Starting with Davina.
I think I'd be blue as well. I like the reds as well. I like a bit of warrior in there, so maybe I'd go with more of a red. I like that idea.
I love that. How about yourself?
Me, sorry to be boring, but I think I'd be blue as well. I mean, I just love the idea of being a spy and being everywhere all at once and checking things out and knowing what's going on. I mean, all of the Aja are really fun and exciting for me because I think, I love the way that Robert Jordan's made that differentiation between the important roles that people would play within the society or a culture like that. But yeah, I mean, the greens are interesting, like I wouldn't mind being a yellow. It's quite a good thing to have in your in your belt. But they're all very exciting.
No, I agree. I don't think blue is a boring answer at all. That's the exact appeal for me too. Just being out there, knowing everything. Doesn't help that I'm a very nosy person. So speaking of that, I wanted to know if you have a favorite costume or like makeup effect that you guys created on this show or specifically this season. I'll start with Sharon this time around.
Well, I think that the costume and hair and makeup collaboration that was probably the biggest for us on this season was Lady Suroth, because we had to create the Shanshan world from scratch. We had never seen anything like that before in season 1, sorry. And it was a journey. There were a lot of things to take into consideration to get. I wanted her to be terrifying and beautiful and dramatic and insect-like and feel incredibly intimidating. And it was the journey to get to that point that was really good fun. Creating the mask together and the headpiece together with Davina was one of the highlights, I would say, for sure.
And I totally agree. And I think once you guys see what's under the mask, I think you'll agree too that it is somewhat, it's sort of there's a little bit of angelic as well as terrifying
And
all in one.
disturbing.
And disturbing, yeah, underneath there. It's great.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. I was watching the screeners last night, and the new villains are just terrifying thanks to your work, but also beautiful, like you said. Was there any specific film or TV show that had inspired you to want to get into your craft? What inspired you guys to do what you do now? Again, I'll start with that, Sharon or Davina. Sorry.
I mean, I watched horrors and sci-fi growing up, so I came from the world of you know, what I consider really horrible horrors, which was you know, Damon the Omen. So I kind of dabbled in a lot of prosthetic work when I was younger, and then Star Trek was for me. So for it, you know, I bring a bit of element into the show, maybe when it comes to Lady Sauroth. So I think that there's a little bit of, I try not to go too sci-fi on a fantasy show because that is like my stopping point. But again, I think everything that I kind of watch, you know, I love Guillermo del Toro, you know, in my early years, and so I love watching all of his stuff, and he's to me a fantastic fantasy director.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I completely reference the same sort of films. But my background is also a bit in kind of really weird anarchic circus and street theatre that brings in an angle that isn't your normal film world angle. And I think that also has an influence. You know, Rafe has always encouraged us to really experiment and push the boat out and try do something new for the genre. And I think that we are both moving in that direction and encouraging each other all the time to just go a bit further and a bit more crazy.
And I don't think we've seen anything like the Shanchan on TV before. So, you know, we're ticking boxes.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see those Star Trek and like dark vibes, and I love you guys' work on this show so much. Thank you guys so much for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations. First off, I've been asking everybody like, so obviously you and me probably couldn't use the one power or be an Aes Sedai, but if we could, which Aja would you pick? For me, I would probably be a blue sister. What about for you?
I was thinking blue, or I was thinking maybe the red one. So
Blue or red?
I don't have to worry about, you know, my orders being heard. So
Gotcha. Yeah, blue's been a popular one. I think you're the first person to say red today. I love that. Um, so secondly, I wanted to know, like, as a stunt coordinator, you know, with film history, there's a ton of crazy stunts, fight scenes. Was there any in particular that stood out to you, which inspired you to get into this craft?
I think it's more like not particular fight that would inspire me. It's more the experience throughout the years that I feel like I create kind of the style that I like. And of course, together with the team we have, with the Swordmaster and, you know, all the stunties, you know, creating and kind of contributing, because of course it's like, you know, it's all the team's work as well, not only me. So when we create the fights and we get the stunt doubles for each characters, they kind of already know the fighting style that we've established in season 1, and they want to add a little bit more to it. And because they know that actor, they know how, you know, he moves or she moves, they help to create things, and we all know what the cast member can do from season 1, so we know we can step it up a little bit somewhere, and you know, and so it's all like created together with the team.
That's awesome. And so, like, for our audience, could you explain a little bit about what your like day to day as a stunt coordinator is like?
I think it's very different from what it, you know, when I used to do stunts, you kind of show up on the day and then you do your stunt and you come back home and you don't have to really worry about other things. But as a stunt coordinator, you need to plan a lot more ahead and you need to organize a lot more. And it becomes a lot of paperwork, you know, before we start filming, you know. And even when we start filming, you still need to kind of make sure that all you prepare is safe and everybody knows what they're doing on each day, and the cast is happy with the action and it feels safe and it's looked after. So it's a lot more things to think about. You know, it's a very different job from being a stuntman and it's become a stunt coordinator. So it's a lot more responsibility, a lot more worries, if you say, but it gives a lot more creativity as well.
That's awesome. So it sounds like this season was a little bit easier in terms of working with the actors. You knew what they were capable of. So was there like a specific stunt that was difficult to pull off, like technically this year for you guys?
I think it was more not the particular stunt as a stunt. Like we had some fights, of course, as we had season one, but we had a lot more characters in one battle scene fighting at the same time. So that was the challenging part because you need to, when you roll the cameras and suddenly you see that there is like 10 cast members doing their fight with 100 people, you need to make sure that everybody does what they need to do and everything goes as planned because everybody who they fight, sometimes they're wearing armor, they look identical. So it's very difficult for the cast to know, okay, which is the next guy that's supposed to attack me, or so it's it takes a lot of preparation and memorizing the fight because then when they memorize everything, they also need to do their character acting and stuff. So and we always need to give them some hints. Okay, that's the next guy, or so that was the challenging part on this season. Not really just one stand, but mostly like this big battle scene.
Right. So then, like with the big battle scenes, I'm assuming that takes a long time to coordinate to shoot. Was there a specific day where like everything kind of came together, or like everything went well, and you were just like, "Wow, I love my job. I love that I get to do this," or just that this came together?
Luckily, I think we had a lot of those days, and
Okay.
so it all comes to the preparation before, and we spent really like weeks and weeks to prepare, each battle, and then we rehearsed it with the stunt piece first, and had it kind of signed off by the director and showrunner. And when they were happy with all the moves, we would start teaching the cast, and we would bring them first to the stunt gym, then we bring them to the location, so they would be familiar with everything, and then we would also practice with the costumes on, and with the stunties having their costumes, they got used to seeing things how the way they're gonna see it on the day when we film it, so there would be no surprises. And I think that always pays off. So I think most of the time everything went smoothly and no one got hurt. So I think you will see that the like when you go to season that there was a lot of fun and hard work. It paid off.
First off, I was wondering, the three of us probably wouldn't be allowed to channel or be an Aes Sedai in this world, but if you were, which Aja would you be a part of? For me, I think I would be a blue because they're my favorite.
Ah, this is very difficult question. Very difficult question. I have no idea who I would be. Sorry.
It's okay.
I think that I will be brown because I do like books. So I like the books. And I like all
Awesome.
of the browns. Yeah.
That's fair. Could you guys describe for our audience what your work entails as a production designer and a special effects coordinator? What are your like daily responsibilities like? Starting with the SFX side of things.
Yeah, well, I'm responsible for making the set looking realistic, like in a way of when we are on the stage, that we bring the flames into the stage, so they have to be safe and they have to be beautifully designed. So the flames got actually a very important role in the story. It's got a lighting effect, it's got a magic effect as well. So I'm responsible for atmospheric effects. I'm responsible for most of the action bits, like if we say we are in the middle of the battle, we want to make the battle looking very good and very dangerous, and but has to be safe on the other side. So I'm responsible for that.
So as a production designer, I'm responsible for everything which you can see in front of the camera, except the actor and the actor costumes and the makeup. So whatever world we are in, whatever room we are in, with my team, we are designing that, and we are finding the locations and putting all of that together. So that's kind of my responsibility, to create a world which you can see around the actors.
That's awesome. They both sound like a lot of work and that there's a lot of like attention to detail that has to go into your craft. I was wondering, were there any specific film or TV shows that inspired you? Like, oh, I want to be an SFX coordinator or I want to do production design. Was there anything specific that stands out to you, uh, starting with the production design?
Actually, I did some student when I was a student. I worked with the students, on a films. I do like the films even like a student. So I was kind of really into this, media. So I don't think that there was any specific project which moved me into that. But I was really like watching everything what I can that time when I was a student. So and when I did the first student movies with my colleagues in a film school, I kind of thinking about doing that job.
Awesome. What about yourself?
Yeah, and I mean, from the childhood, when you are watching the movies, you always like the action bits. You always like when something's breaking, when there is a war movie, and you were wondering, how did they shoot that? It looks so realistic. So this was the one of the things which really impressed me on the films and on the movies. How did they do it? What's behind that? What's behind all that action? How did the building collapse and nobody hurts? And suddenly there was a luck that I could be part of a special effects crew, and that's where I became 25 years ago a special effects technician, and since that I'm doing my dream work.
That's amazing. I love to hear about that. Is there a specific like set or a special effect that was your favorite this season to create? Like was there a specific fire or something that was technically challenging for you?
There is the set is called the Atlantis Mail. I really like it's like a riverside village, and we did battle there. There was lots of action. There was channeling. The channeling was strong. We had to bring a lot of equipment there, to create all that effect. There was so many cranes. There were so many cherry pickers, just helping the stunts flying, and I really like Atlantis Mill set.
So for me, it was like there was a more sets, but I think that we did a good job in a city called Farm that we created from combining different sets and different locations in Morocco, and I think that and in Prague, and all together it kind of worked well. So that's kind of I think that set looks good, and you will see it at the end of the season. It's like
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time and congratulations. I love this series so much and just congratulations on its release.